Hello, my name is Lisa Clayton Brown, and I'm Administrative Specialist for Department of Parks and Recreation. Let's begin. Emergency preparedness. We never know exactly when an emergency will happen. So practicing emergency situations is the best way to ensure safety and preparedness. Emergencies can be frightening for both adults and children and cause panic if it arises. Drills must be practiced frequently to ensure all participants and staff are familiar with the procedures and what to expect in the event a disaster occurs. Program directors and leads are responsible for creating, implementing, and upkeeping current and relevant emergency plans and emergency contact information for each program. The director must know the surroundings of the building or facility, appoint staff to specific roles, and is responsible for staff being trained to know all emergency plans and practice all disaster drills. Before we get into the emergency drills, let's take a few minutes to review each of the required emergency plans, their purpose, and when to use them. The on-site emergency plan. The on-site emergency plan is used for all on-site emergencies and should be posted on a wall in a familiar place in each program space for all staff and participants. The field trip emergency plan. The field trip emergency plan is used for all field trip emergencies and should be completed each time there is a trip, indicating only those staff taking the field trip. This plan should be completed the morning of the trip, prior to departure, to ensure it is most accurate. One copy of the form is to be left at the program site, and another copy goes in the trip binder. The pool emergency plan. The pool emergency plan is used for emergencies at the pool. When going on a trip to the pool, complete and take the field trip emergency plan, as well as the pool emergency plan, indicating only those staff taking the trip to the pool. The field trip plan is used in the event of an emergency, traveling to and from the pool, and the pool emergency plan is used in the event of an emergency while at the pool. Amusement water park emergency plan. The Amusement Water Park Emergency Plan is a plan used for emergencies while at the amusement or a water park. When going to the amusement water park, complete and take the field trip emergency plan, as well as the Amusement Water Park Emergency Plan, indicating only those staff attending the trip. As with the other trip forms, this emergency plan should be completed morning of the trip. The field trip plan is again used in the event of an emergency traveling to and from the amusement or water park. Welcome back. Now that we've reviewed and discussed the emergency plans, it's time to focus on the emergency drills. Emergency drills. Emergency drills give staff and participants the opportunity to become familiar with the process of what to do in an event of an emergency. While there is no way to truly simulate an actual emergency, frequent practice helps to secure the actions in our brains. Before practicing the drill with participants, take a few minutes to talk through what the drill looks like and what the expectation is for the campers. For example, the campers should line up behind which staff to follow them out of the building, while the other staff will be completing their responsibilities. The department requires that both staff and participants are actively engaged in practicing 6 drills. Fire and emergency, evacuation, weather, missing lost participant, participant left behind, modified lockdown, and lockdown. Each of the drills are practiced on a regular basis and are logged each time on the practice drill tracking sheet. For day camps, Drills are reviewed and practiced on the first day of each new session. Playground and teen sites practice all 6 drills weekly on first day of the week. For childcare sites, kids care, morning care, preschool, and therapeutic recreation, drills are practiced and logged monthly. These practice sessions, although serious by nature, can be made fun for the participants. For example, evacuation drills are timed. Can the participants beat the previous time? If you have multiple camps or participants are divided into age groups, which group is the first to recognize a surprise emergency drill and complete it safely? After you have practiced each drill thoroughly, fill out the log with the date, start time, end time, name of drill, number of participants, name of staff conducting the drill. The log should be posted in an area accessible for viewing. You may be asked by a state inspector, licensing specialist, health supervisor, or manager to view the drill log at any time. As a reference, all procedures for the drills are detailed within the Youth Camp Safety Standards Manual. Now let's run through a few simulations of how emergencies may look and the importance of completing the drills regularly. Emergency evacuation. In the event of an emergency inside the facility or building, each program needs to be prepared to safely exit with all program participants and staff. To ensure this process is conducted safely and smoothly, have a plan and practice it on the first day of each camp session, weekly for playground and teen sites, and monthly for longer programs like kids care, morning care, and preschool. On your first day of work, make sure you get oriented with your program location and know where to locate all alarm poles, fire extinguishers, and AEDs. Each site should have an emergency map and plan posted on the wall in each program room. The map should show evacuation paths from the facility and the safe gathering spot at least 75 feet from the building outside. The emergency plan will detail which staff members are responsible for which part of the plan. For example, one staff is responsible for gathering the participants by waving the emergency flag and using the sign-in sheet to call roll. As a staff, it is your responsibility to review the emergency action plan and know how to carry out your specific duties during an emergency evacuation. On the first day of the program, be sure plan time in your schedule to practice the emergency drills with your participants. Be sure to review with participant prior to practicing the drill which exits to use, alternative exits in case the main exits are blocked, the location of the safe meeting spot outside of the facility, and program staff responsibilities during the emergency. One staff's responsibilities must include ensuring they bring the following items out of the building with them: daily sign-in sheet, program notebook that includes all participant profile and health forms, any medication on site, a form of communication, a cell phone, the on-site emergency plan, since you never know when an emergency is going to arise or where in the facility you'll be when it happens. It's good to practice to always keep these items with you. Participants need to know who to line up behind to follow out the building to the safe meeting spot. Once you've reached the safe meeting spot, do not re-enter an evacuated building until instructed by emergency personnel. For practice purposes, this drill is timed from beginning to end and documented on the emergency evacuation drill form. Weather. Throughout the day, staff and managers need to pay close attention to all weather updates, as it may affect the program. Let's take some time to talk through weather-related emergencies. Electrical lightning storms. For electrical lightning storms, be alert and mindful of changing weather conditions. Look for darkening clouds, increased wind speed, or lightning and thunder. When a storm approaches, be sure to account for all your participants by calling roll, using the daily sign-in sheet, and completing a face count. Move the participants out of the water if you're at the pool or on a body of water and seek shelter. When indoors, keep participants away from windows, doors, water sources, and electrical equipment. If you're in a vehicle during a storm, remain there until it passes, or it becomes unsafe to remain there. If you get caught outdoors in an open field and are unable to get to shelter, have participants spread out 15 to 20 feet apart and crouch on the balls of their feet with their hands and on their knees, head down and low to the ground. The goal is to have a little body contact to the ground as possible. Avoid high ground, water, solitary trees, metal objects. If you can, seek clusters of shrubs or trees or uniform height. Hurricanes. In the event of an alert of a hurricane, move everyone indoors on the downwind side of the building from the storm. To find out which side is downwind, look at which way the trees are or flags are blowing. Avoid areas with glass. Use phones and other electronics as little as possible. Ensure all participants and staff are accounted for by calling roll, using the daily sign-in sheet, and doing a face count. If you are off-site, remember to notify your supervisor of your location. In event of an evacuation, follow appropriate emergency plan. Be sure to take the daily sign-in sheet, everyone's participant profile form, medications, and a form of communication like a cell phone. Tornadoes. Another weather-related emergency we need to be prepared for are tornadoes. If staff are alerted to a possible tornado, take the following action. Move everyone indoors to an enclosed area in the center of the lowest part of the building. For example, a closet, bathroom, or hallway. The important thing to remember is to be sure to stay away from the rooms with glass. If you are caught outside, have everyone lie down in a ditch or low-lying area with their hands over their heads. Always remember to ensure you have everyone by calling roll, using the daily sign-in sheet, and a face count. If time and conditions allow, notify your supervisor of the situation and location of your group. After the tornado passes, complete another face count and call roll. Check for injuries and provide first aid care if needed. Notify your supervisor with updated information. Earthquakes. Most earthquake-related injuries result from collapsing walls, flying glass, and falling objects. The shorter the distance to move to safety, the less likely you or a participant will be injured. Should an earthquake occur, program staff will limit everyone's movement. Wait in a safe place until the shaking stops. And move carefully and watch out for things that have fallen or broken, creating hazards. Be aware of possible aftershocks. If you are indoors, take cover under a sturdy desk, table, or bench, or against an inside wall and hold on. Everyone should remain indoors until the shaking has stopped and you are sure it is safe to leave. If you're outdoors, keep everyone outdoors and move away from buildings, trees, and utility wires. Heat emergencies. Our last weather-related emergency is heat emergencies. Heat emergencies include excessive heat, air quality alerts, as well as participant or staff-related emergencies, such as heat cramps, heat exhaustion, heat stroke. Program staff will continually observe participants for heat-related injuries, ensuring they are taking frequent breaks and drinking plenty of fluids. Heat cramps are a first symptom in a heat-related illness. Heat cramps can lead to exhaustion. Heat exhaustion can lead to heat stroke, which is a life-threatening condition. For a list of signs and symptoms of heat-related illness, review the Emergency Plans chapter of your Youth Camp Safety Standards Manual. I know this was a lot of information. This is why it is so important to practice these drills to be prepared in the event of an emergency. If you need a refresher as to what to do in one of these emergencies, the steps are listed out in your Youth Safety Standards Manual. Missing or lost participant drill. Safety is always our #1 priority for our campers and staff. When a child is identified as missing or lost, take immediate action. To run the missing or lost participant drill, set your timer to document the start and end time. Assign a staff to each exit so no one enters or exits the facility. Assign a staff to gather all participants, remaining staff, and volunteers together and conduct roll and face count. Ask when the missing lost participant was last seen. Ensure staff has the name and physical description, including clothing, of the participant. Whenever you're on a trip, it's a good idea to take a picture of the participants in case you need support in searching for the lost participant. Assign staff to search the building to include all possible hiding places, such as all bathrooms, offices, closets, stairwells, etc. Assign other staff to search the surrounding area. The goal is to locate the child and complete the drill in 5 minutes. Document on the log the date, start time, end time, name of drill, and the staff conducting the drill. In the event of an actual emergency of a missing or lost child, if the child is not found within 5 minutes, call Park Police at 301-459-3232 and provide a full description of the participant and all relative information. Refer to the missing participant as a critical missing person. Report the incident to your supervisor and to the participant's parent, guardian, or emergency contact. During this time, do not allow any participant fitting the description of the missing lost patron to leave the area with or without an adult until the police arrive and confirm that the individual in question is not the missing and/or lost participant. If you find the missing lost participant before the police arrive and they are unharmed, call Park Police back and tell them the participant has been found and the police are no longer needed. If the participant is not found, Park Police will take over the investigation. All employees are to remain on site and continue to cooperate with the officer and update your supervisor and the parent or guardian or emergency contact. At the end of the event, obtain the Park Police Case Incident Number for your records and for Risk Management and Safety Office. Remember to give the number to your supervisor as well. Participant left behind. Gather all trip participants, staff, and volunteers together to conduct a roll call and head count. If there's a participant that is identified as missing, ask the trip participants when they last saw the person who was left behind. Assign a staff member as the designee to work with the venue to locate the person left behind. The staff member will pull the participant's profile form, any health forms, and emergency contact information. Notify the venue of the missing person and provide their name and description of the participant, including what they are wearing. If the participant is located, ask the venue staff to supervise them until they can be picked up. If you're less than halfway back to your program site, return to the field trip location and pick up the participant. Otherwise, continue to your program site. A career staff will return to the trip location in a MNCPPC vehicle to assist in identifying the participant that was left behind or picking them up if they were located. If the participant is not found within 5 minutes, notify Park Police and your supervisor, referring to the participant as a critical missing person. Next, you will notify the participant's parent, guardian, with the incident and steps taken to ensure the participant's safety. If the child is found unharmed before Park Police's arrival, contact Park Police to notify that the child was found. Lockdown policy and procedures. In the case of a potentially violent intruder or danger inside or outside a facility, an enhanced security procedure may be necessary. A lockdown can be initiated by either Park Police or facility staff for the safety and protection of participants and staff. Reasons for a lockdown include an armed or dangerous suspect in the area, shots fired in the area, high-speed pursuit with bailout in the area. In the event you need to secure the facility with participants present, announce via a bullhorn, public address system, or verbally. This is an emergency lockdown. Staff, please secure the facility and patrons. Immediately move all patrons participating in outside activities inside. If this is not possible due to danger between the group and the building, have patrons move away from the danger. Lock all exterior doors. Keep them locked until directed otherwise by a supervisor or uniformed rescue law enforcement personnel. Do not permit anyone to enter or exit the building. Turn off all electronic devices, radios, TVs, computers, and put cell phones on silent. Notify Park Police of the security threat or danger. Direct patrons into the nearest classroom or secured area, making sure no building keys are left behind or unsecured. If multiple rooms are used, each room must be secured. Secure interior room with patrons present. Once patrons are inside, close and lock doors and windows to the room. Turn off the lights. Pull the shades down over the windows or cover windows and doors. Turn off all electronic devices and put cell phones on silent. Keep all individuals as quiet and calm as possible. Do not open the door for any reason. Wait until facility staff or uniformed rescue law enforcement personnel open the door from the other side, no matter how long it takes. Modified lockdown. Occasionally, facilities will be notified of police activity in the area or may see police activity happening. When there is no immediate threat to participants within the facility and staff are not sure of what's going on, place the facility on a modified lockdown to ensure everyone's safety. During a modified lockdown, activity inside the facility can operate as normal, except with limited access to the facility. Adult patrons or parents wanting to leave the facility with their youth teen may do so. However, with a witness present, they must first be informed of the danger outside and that they may not return to the facility until the situation is safe and the area is secure. Children in the care of MNCPPC are not allowed to leave the facility. No one is allowed into the building during a modified lockdown. The facility director, their designee, or Park Police can decide on the extent of a modified lockdown. You will hear more details and information about lockdowns during the Park Police training. If you have questions about lockdowns, please be sure to follow up with your supervisor or Park Police.